All right guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here today. I've got a video that I've had a few questions about, so I wanted to just do like a in-depth overview of how I glue up and how I center. You could call them wood signs. In my case, it's a shadow box, but I did this big giant wood sign behind me the same exact way. I just used some bigger tools. So if you make wood signs or if it's something you want to do, and this is one of the trickier parts because you're working with glue, you're on a time crunch, and you got to get everything perfect, and there's kind of no going back once you've started. So stick around till the end. I'm going to pack as much info into this as I possibly can and show you exactly how I do it, and hopefully you can use that in your shop to help things go a little more smoother. So the first thing I want to say is I have everything I'm going to need laid out in front of me. That's part of the issue here with using glue. I use super glue. Is the working time is not very much, so I have to have everything I'm possibly going to need right in front of me so I can just grab it, use it, and get this done. The two tools that I really use a lot are a Westcott ruler. It's the one with the cork on the back. They're like $17 and you can pretty much find them anywhere they sell school supplies. This is going to be helpful for our measuring and centering. And then as far as like keeping things level, if you use text, a lot of people are making text wood signs or wood signs with lettering. A good machinist square or something, something that has a bigger, fatter end, and then obviously a straight edge at a right angle is gonna come in really handy. Some of the little stuff I've got is a pair of tweezers, and there's actually just a dentist tool, and it helps me because my stuff is so small, just like poke pieces around, get them in place without using my big fat fingers. And speaking of big fat fingers, I always wear rubber gloves because if you've ever seen like a tattoo artist work, they always kind of like keep stuff on the back of their gloves. And as far as like glue squeeze out or stuff on your fingers, it's nice to just have a surface right there that you can like put it on your glove and it's not gonna like stick something where you don't want it. I'll probably run into that while we do this. And then always good to have some paper towels just on hand, again, for glue squeeze out, any kind of cleanup. You could see I'm working on like a fresh, nice white canvas. And so one of the biggest things for me is keeping everything clean and pristine and not getting any smudge marks or anything on my white canvas. So I'm gonna throw the gloves on right away. For glue, what I use for these and what I've used for wood signs, and I think this is gonna cover pretty much everything as far as what you'll need for adhesive, is I use a combination of wood glue. This is just like the mini glue bot, which I find really helpful, so I don't get too crazy with it, and a combination of that and super glue. Now I've tried a lot of different super glues. I used to use the little tubes from Harbor Freight. It's kind of just a cheap option, and you could buy like 50 of them for like $6. But I did have a situation where my piece came undone, and so I had to find something better. Starbond is my super glue of choice. I've got all the different thick, thin, medium, black, brown, the accelerator, the whole 9 yards, and they are a sponsor of this channel, so I will link an affiliate link down in the description. So if you are interested in this stuff, which I highly recommend, go check that out. It'll get you a little discount on it. First things first. So whether you're doing a sign, like I said, with text, in my case, I'm doing a family portrait with some text underneath, so this is gonna be perfect, I think. But I have all of my pieces laid out to my left-hand side. I'm left-handed, so I can grab pieces as I need them, put them on the board, and again, I've got all my tools right in front of me. But the first thing that I like to do is just take all of my pieces that are gonna be a part of the sign, and I'm gonna put them on the canvas. So whether that's your sign or whether it's this white foam board like I have, I'm just gonna put it on there, put it together, and get it as center as I can. You'll see why, but everything's just gonna go in the center, and I'm gonna kind of eyeball it from right here, and then we'll move on. All right, so as you can see, I've like just kind of thrown everything on here. I haven't gotten too crazy. The spacing's not totally right, but I think I've got it close to the center. And one of the tricks I like to do, if you are using a frame, I'll just throw this frame on here and just see how that looks. So after all that, I am gonna go landscape. I like it. I think the spacing, if you look at that overhead shot, is gonna be pretty dang good. Yeah, I like the composition of it, so we're gonna go with that. So we're pretty close to center. And now this is kind of the tedious part. And I don't use any tape or anything to space things out because I'm working on foam board. It'll pull up. But the reason behind the Westcott ruler is it has centimeters. So I guess you could use any ruler you want, but I highly recommend something with centimeter increments because you're just gonna get, it's gonna be that much more accurate. You know, you're not gonna be like, is that, you know, 3/8 or 5/8 or whatever. It's like, no, it's, you know, 4 centimeters or 4.5 or 3. You get the idea, it's a little more accurate. So I'm going off my reference and I like where the spacing is on the family. I'm gonna worry about that after. I'm gonna leave it where it is for now, but I'm just gonna go around the outside and I'm gonna touch my piece with my ruler and I see that that's like 12 3/4. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna come over here, touching that farthest point of my sign and 12 1/2. So we're pretty dang close there. I think I can just scoot it over and I'm gonna actually just use the ruler and push him over a tiny bit. Now I know I like that spacing from side to side. I'm gonna do the same thing from top to bottom and you can see this guy's head is not quite attached. Sorry, bud. All right, so I'm gonna come in there. So now that's my furthest point on the top. 5 centimeters on the button. Right down here. Okay, we're at 4 3/4. Again, I'm gonna push with my ruler until I hit 5. And now I'm gonna come in with my square. Here comes the paper towel, make sure this thing's clean. There we are. And now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna slide it right along and I'm gonna hit all that text and watch, it's gonna bring it all up. Boom, so it's all in line with the M now. Now it's obvious to me that you know, this is touching his foot right here. I don't like that. My spacing between the text and my picture is obviously not where we want it. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put my ruler right here. I'm gonna go on a centimeter increment and I know I wanna come down, I don't know, here we are about 1/2 centimeter, 4 1/2. Again, I'm gonna push all my letters down so they all line up. All right. I'm gonna take my square, I'm gonna flip it, come back up to the top. Same exact thing. I'm gonna touch his head. All right, bud, there you go. I'm touching his hat. Bring my ruler over. Line that square up on a whole number, 42. So we're going 42 1/2. All right. Now this is where you're gonna run into like the check this, check that, measure twice, cut once type of thing. I'm gonna push him up so he touches, and actually she's kind of attached there in the midsection, so they're all gonna go up. And this is why it doesn't matter if it's perfect because you're gonna have to straighten it out anyway. So up they go. It's just a lot of kind of trial and error here, and I might shift this again. I'm not gluing anything yet, just getting it somewhat even. Take our reference off, let's check that. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to change it once more. All good. Okay, look at my overhead cam. Yep, so now I actually, well, we're gonna do the same exact thing. I'm gonna bring everything in 1/4 centimeter this time, so we went a little too far. All right, so I think we're just about there. And I'm just gonna straighten these guys up a little bit. And things are still a little crooked, but the most important pieces I'm looking at are like those high points. So up here, down here, and from side to side. And I'm not really gonna worry about the middle stuff too much just yet. Let me check my reference here. All right, I'm gonna leave that. So I like this spacing. I'm gonna leave this square here so I know my text is gonna be correct, and I'm actually gonna use the centimeters on my square to even up these letters. So those are evenly spaced. Bingo. Okay, and now I'm just about ready for my glue up. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this thing, I'm gonna square up all these pieces that we kind of like left straggling here. So let's take a second to do that, and then things will be set perfect as they would be while we glue it up, and then we're gonna hit it with the glue. So let's just straighten everything up. All right, bingo. And now we're gonna start our glue up. And what I like to do is glue in some landmark pieces, I call them. And so that's gonna be our placeholder. So I'll probably do his hat right there. I'll probably do some of these big pant pieces and shirt pieces. Part of the reason I like this Starbond glue is it dries really fast when you apply pressure. And so I'll glue those landmark pieces into place really fast, put some pressure on them, they'll dry, and then they'll be stuck, and then I can just kind of go based on that. So if you're doing text, I would recommend doing your outside letters first, and then, so at least you know where they start and where they end, and then doing everything in the middle. So let's glue this up real fast, and the last big tip I wanted to give you, so if you've stuck around, you'll get this quick, easy way to glue production pieces up. So if there's signs you do over and over and over, the big money saver, time saver is coming up right after this. Alrighty, and just like that, it is glued up and it's perfectly center. So I think if you follow those rules with your ruler and your square, you can make any sign perfectly center every single time. Now, a big tip, if you have a piece or a sign or something that is kind of a production piece that you make multiple quantities of and you want to glue them up fast every single time, this is the trick that I use. And I basically just take a piece of foam board, and I've got this one labeled. It's an 11 by 14 with a 9 by 8 opening, and I know that works for all my cow pieces, and it helps me center anything that's a little bit smaller than this. And all I do is I can lay this right over. It fits perfectly on my foam board, or if you have a sign, you'd make it the same size as your sign, and you can tape it down, and then all of a sudden you only have a small opening to work with. You can use it to center stuff on a smaller scale, or like I said, my cow, it'll just fit right in there. As long as the pieces are touching the edge and they're all cut right, it's center every single time. So guys, I hope you found that helpful. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It helps out a lot. Comment in the comments section something that you'd like to see. If you have any questions or a video recommendation you'd want, let me know down there. Don't forget to like it, and we'll see you next time.